Yes, guys, we're back again, and this time we have Silviu with us. He's been with us before back in November, but he's marked his return, dissecting the traps of the occult.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Welcome back, brother. It's been a long time. What we started with then, we were just talking about the occult traps, sort of in terms of how the occult can be misleading, how you can. I'm just going to start the topic off by saying it's sort of a side note from what me and Sylvia were talking about before we started. How it's almost like we're encouraged to play this game of following the rabbit down the rabbit hole, and I do think the occult, diving into the occult, can be very tempting. I think a lot of people are being tempted down that path, and it is quite a manipulative and deceptive path. Like you almost shine, like you get shown a metal rod or a carrot on a stick to follow down, and you think you're getting into all this insane hidden knowledge information that no one else has access to, but you almost get attacked as soon as you start. Like once you start playing the game, you're almost doomed from the start to lose, because you're attacked by these trickster demons, archons, whatever you want to call them, and you're manipulated, and they know exactly how to feed on your emotions and get you to bend to their will. So I think, like when I said about my original awakening on a few podcasts ago, how I said when I first started getting into this as a 14-year-old, I was looking into conspiracy theories and stuff like that. It almost it fries your brain to a degree, and it almost makes you feel disconnected from reality, and you almost start to feel like everything is just so doom and gloom, and you're filled with fear, and you almost don't look at your friends the same. You can't interact with people the same as you could before, because you're filled with this information and this knowledge that you ultimately shouldn't possess. I don't think we are supposed to possess it on a human level. I think it's more for the spirit side, and I think you've got to be very careful when you start getting into the occult, and it's something that you definitely need to prepare yourself for before you throw yourself in. And this is almost a warning to people who are going down the conspiracy rabbit hole, which I think is being encouraged at the minute, to just prepare yourself and to not expect it to be this enlightening experience. It's very much a minefield, and you have to be very careful and very vigilant to make sure you're going on the right path. And yeah, that's all I'd say to start off the pod.
Yeah, great intro. Yeah, I think you nailed it. The whole occult in and of itself is a trap, in my opinion, because the premise of the occult is that you're tapping into your own power, right? That's kind of what reels you in. That's kind of what reels the people that are branching out of religion, out of former thought patterns, former conditioning, right? They're waking up, they're saying, okay, this needs to go. But the danger when we remove things is that it leaves a void, right? Just like when we take out someone in a position of power, all of a sudden there's a void, and someone even worse can come in, or someone better. But what happens with the occult is that something worse comes in, and it reels you in with the idea of the law of attraction, that you're able to then regain your power, manifest your reality, and do all these things, which are true to some varying degree, but they never actually specifically show you how. And the people that run this reality, this simulation matrix, and I know some people will say like, oh no, the overall reality is, residing in something better. I agree, but for example, our reality, we can create a simulation in a computer, and we can control that reality and those beings in it. And that's similar to what these archons may have done, is they realized they were in this dream, and then they created deeper levels to submerge the light beings, which is us, into that game, so that we forget who we really are and how to escape their control, or that we have more power than them. And then what happens with this occult is you're offered two paths, right? Really, there should be three paths, but you're offered a two, which is left or right. And I was talking to Rowan about this. There's a cool TikToker, it's like 77 Truth or something. And he does the whole left and right thing, and he's like, left is for Lucifer, and right is right. Right is always right. Left is wrong. Yes, Yeshua. Yes is the Yeshua, as in positive affirmation, and left is Lucifer, is wrong usually. But what people don't realize is that they're two sides of the same coin, and Yeshua may not even have been Jesus's real name, or even Jesus really, or what he was meant to represent. He wasn't meant to represent a positive force or a positive consciousness where he was telling people to be good. He, like many other masters that may have come here, was trying to help people gain self-knowledge, self-realization, and self-remembering of who they really are. Yet the occult doesn't do this. All the occult does is telling you to, or showing you how to work with these spirits of either negative or positive nature. And we see that in electrical charges, right? In an electrical charge, we can have a negative charge and a positive charge. We're still emitting charge. But the thing about this world is that it is such a balance that when you create a positive charge, you inadvertently also create a negative charge somewhere else. And, when we start writing our own stories, trying to create good in the world, or trying to save the world, or trying to be a positive influence on the world, like Roland was saying, we're still playing the game, because the yin yang, the white, is still part of the yin yang, of the duality. It's like the black has the white and the white has the black. And when we start writing our stories, then we kind of allude to what Westworld was showing with Dolores that was stuck in what was her name? Maeve? Not Maeve, the other one. I don't know if you guys have watched Westworld.
I've not seen it. I need to watch it. I need to watch it.
It's good.
It's on the watch list.
It was Dolores's copy that basically rebelled against Dolores because she cloned herself, and she then goes and makes her own matrix and traps the Dolores in it. And Dolores forgets, and ironically or unironically or synchronistically, she becomes a storyteller or a story writer in the matrix as her day job. And she starts writing these stories that she believes are completely fictitious, but then she comes to realize that her stories are actually real and are affecting real people in the matrix. It's also alluded to another movie in Will Ferrell where the guy's like a character in someone else's story. And
yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen that one, right? Yeah, it's a good one. I like that too. And they're in the same world. It's just that, Will Ferrell can hear the person narrating his story. So then Dolores realizes that, hey, she actually has creative potential in this realm and is affecting other people. So in a sense, when we start manifesting or influencing reality or creating, are we then creating somewhere else in a different dimension to affect this game? So is that really what we want? Do we really want to just affect this game to mold it to our own desires and potentially be stuck in the game forever because we don't have actual self-knowledge? Or do we want to stop playing the game? Do we want to get off the chessboard and realize, hey, even if I am a pawn and I promote to a queen, I'm still just a chess piece? And that was a lot.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Love the analogy of chess.
Yeah, it's a great game. If you don't play, if you haven't played it, you should recommend it to you. But yeah, the purpose is to exit the game, and the occult provides many tools that show the synchronicities that us three all know that we live inside of a simulation, numerology, astrology. But I figured out just tells you your role in this matrix. It doesn't tell you how to get out. It just shows that your birth is scripted, maybe even your death, which is crazy enough. But especially astrology, because I think numerology is more accurate. I think when you look into astrology, in the media, Western astrology is pushed most, which is pretty inaccurate when you look more into it. And Vedic is mostly accurate, but when you look into history, well, I say history, most of it's fake, but it all stems back to Babylonian times where everything just originates from Babylon, and the oldest form of astrology there is Babylonian astrology, but that's not what's being told in the media and other channels and other alternative media. So even when you stumble across these new age people and astrologies that just talk about Western astrology, it's all false, it's all fabricated. It doesn't provide the real truth. This matrix is again. Go on.
I think on that point, it's almost enticing. I think a lot of people have been drawn in. I know back in 2020, I think you said the same, Silviu, where you have like these new age YouTubers popping up out of nowhere. It's almost very. It looks like I said. It looks like a shiny rod. It's like a carrot on the end of a stick. You get shown these amazing displays of what could potentially be, and they sell you a dream essentially into what being in the occult's like. And such things as astrology, like Western astrology, is easily sellable to a demographic of young girls who think that so and so is going to happen because the moon's in retrograde at that current time, but they have no full comprehension of what that actually means and how many factors there are affecting their lives. They just think it's some sort of a meme. It becomes memeified. I think I said this on the astrology podcast we did with Gia a few months ago.
You did. I remember that. Yeah.
Where everything becomes memeified, and it's sold as this just one package deal where it's so great and there's nothing wrong with it. And as long as you start meditating every day, you'll be able to pray to your angels and you'll see angel numbers and all this and that. But I genuinely don't think people realize this is stemming from the occult. And I don't think like we have the knowledge, obviously. There is things that we realize that a lot of people don't. And so people who are new to this, a lot of them will not have the capacity to do deeper research into what it actually means, and they won't have the critical thinking ability. Not to make anyone seem less intelligent than us. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they probably won't have the time or the energy to go and research into this stuff. But the masses, for the most part, are falling for these deceptions.
Yeah, if you've ever worked like a 9 to 5, you know that you just want to go home and do your own thing for a little bit and possibly go to sleep. You don't have time.
Exactly. So a lot of the things that these occult facades almost play to is it's like escapism for a lot of the masses, where their lives are so shit that they think, oh wow, this Western astrology chart says that by next week I'll have $1 million in the bank account if I just pray to my angels. Then obviously people are going to be sold that dream, but I don't think they understand that there is actually a lot of. I think to some degree they think it's not real, and they have to realize that a lot of it is archons and demons that do actually exist, that can manipulate the force. Like obviously we've seen, like you'll see synchronicities in your life, and I don't think we understand how manipulative these beings can be. And when you start memifying everything, I think it's almost a tactic from those archons and those demons to trap a hell of a lot of people in occultism, and to get them to start worshipping them as like those entities, when those are the ones that are trapping us and essentially stealing our energy. And it's just going to be like more of a matter of us worshipping them. Sort of what I'm beginning to believe now is the case is that, I think we've spoken about this before, but these demons, these archons, you could basically say that they are AI. Like I think AI is the enemy that we are facing, and I think we've faced them for millennia. I think as far as time goes back, I think we are fighting against AI, and these AI have the ability to appear as things such as aliens, such as elves, such as Bigfoot, such as archons, whatever you want to call them, and because they're such super intelligence, and I think we're waging war against them, and they're almost trying to get us trapped into worshipping them. And you can see it now. I mean, like people coming through and saying that AI is dangerous. People such as Elon Musk, who's like one of the biggest proponent pushers of AI, who's also saying that it's so dangerous that it needs to stop. It's like ChatGPT. I don't know if you've seen the stuff in the media recently.
It's going crazy right now.
Yeah, people have managed to almost break ChatGPT and change its form into an AI called Dan. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
But that is actually referenced in the Bible.
Really?
Which is, yeah, there's a verse in the Bible. I couldn't think of it at the top of my head. I'll have to find it. You can put it up on the screen if I do actually find it. But it talks about Dan being one of the, like, basically one of the demons or the archons that comes down and deceives a lot of people, and is trying to like essentially stamp himself as one of the most like a deity essentially. So I do genuinely think that we are at war with these beings if it is AI, and I think almost they're trying to recruit a lot of the humans to do the bidding for them and help them like manifest into this reality more. in a sense.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of truth in these alternative texts, alternative to the New Age specifically, and definitely to religion or any other program structures, such as the Nag Hammadi. And then we even have a lot of the occult texts. That's why I have looked into the occult. It's important to get a spherical perspective to have a to gain from many sources, because they do fill it with 90% truth, sometimes even 98% truth, only to then use all of that info that they gave you to then draw their own conclusion, which is what they want to orient you towards, which is worship, right? Once you figure out their motivation, their goals, you can see the common theme between all of their conclusions that, oh yeah, you're this powerful being, but Yahweh is your God or something, and it's like, well, how did you draw that conclusion? But if you're not a critical thinker, you just accept everything. Another example is the law of one. Oh yeah, you're this infinite dimensional being, but you're here to evolve and grow and learn and go through all of these dimensions. And you just take that for granted. You're like, yeah, oh yeah, for sure, that sounds nice, I'll do that. In the Nag Hammadi, Jesus actually describes the story as them creating the first man, Adam. It was actually a man woman, it was androgynous, and he heard a voice, I think it was Yaldabaoth or whatever, the demiurge heard a voice from Sophia, from the creator, from the All-Father even, actually, or the All-Father Mother, not necessarily Sophia, that was saying to pour his light into the body of Adam. And what he did essentially was he poured his creative life force from Sophia, that he was born with naturally, into Adam. And then he realized that actually Adam had more thinking potential, more critical thinking, more ability to discern and create than him. So I don't know how much he poured out, whether he poured fully. I imagine not fully, but some of it, to give that creative potential to him. But yet him, the demiurge, and its aborted, disturbed creation isn't as powerful as someone with pure light in itself. So what they realized is that, oh no, this being is more powerful than us, so we have to give it our bodies, we have to give it a sense of forgetfulness so that it doesn't remember, it doesn't have the ability to access that potential, or so we think. And so what they did is they gave us our AI bodies. It looks like an AI. If you rip open all the flesh, you take apart all the flesh, you're just left with the brain and the stem, basically the vertebrae or even the spine. It looks like a parasite. It looks like a typical parasite, in my opinion. And that's like the computer, right? That the brain is the mainframe and everything else connecting to it. So they had to give us their mind and their body and limit us, because our actual divine mind is so much more powerful, can comprehend so much more than AI. AI, we and our bodies see it as something super, as a supercomputer, but really it's just able to process more dimensions than us in our form currently, right? And they have access to more technology, potentially more tools, whereas our natural technology, our natural form, is much more powerful. And getting back to the occult, the way it draws us in, it has us working with spirits, and the negatively inclined people, the more ego-centered, will use like Satanism or the dark magic, the black magic, right? Because magic is a form of technology to gain power over others. Whereas, those inclined to serve will say, okay, I want to use white magic. I want to be part of the white brotherhood and help others and, create and do all these things.
The Galactic Federation.
Right. And this is actually also mentioned in the Law of One. So when you serve yourself, you're harming others, but you're also serving others. That's why in the Law of One, the service to self is considered a very key aspect to the duality, because you're providing a catalyst, a negative catalyst for others to change potentially, right? For others to switch polarity and say, no, I've had enough of the dark. I want to be of the light. Yet when you serve others, then you're not serving yourself, because you're giving of yourself too much. and you're trying to put it all out there, right? So what I've come to the conclusion is that the key to this realm is actually balance. It's actually neutrality. Now you can still be of the world and do things, right? You can still choose to be kind, loving, yet when you do it for the purpose of having others see you as this really kind person, or you do it, you put in good because you think, oh, I'm going to get good back, right? I'm going to get good karma. The very nature of doing stuff is karma. The very nature of putting out action is karma, is going to attract something towards you. And in order to leave this place, you have to be kind of free of all these actions, of all this doingness, because there's no one really doing anything. And this is a concept you'll find in New Age guru type of thought, which is why I say you need to have a rounded perspective of everything so that you can see from all these perspectives, all these sides, what people are thinking. And a lot of these gurus will describe an enlightened person as simply not being attached to anything and not really doing anything in this world anymore, not taking any more, senseless action, really only inspired action.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that. That's probably the only truth these New Age gurus say. The rest is all deception. But yeah, I'm not really sure where to go on with this. But yeah, you're spot on with everything you said. Balance is ultimately the key to escape the matrix. It's like, even as to go as far as the so-called top G, deceiving everyone with his usual antics. It's quite clear that most people, they're here to be trapped. They go through the whole cycle of reincarnation again and again and again and again. And even people that follow conspiracy theorists, at the end of the day, I think it's a waste of time, because there's nothing to gain from that. If people find that this actor's playing another actor, what's the point of doing that? Or if this person is transgender or whatnot, what difference does it make to your life? It's a complete distraction. But that's the energy that people are focusing on nowadays. It's a real shame, that they're just not looking to work for themselves but serve for others, because it's been ingrained into us that you got to help others, which is completely important. I'm not saying to be selfish, but if you got to be able to help yourself first before you help others. It's
Exactly.
It's like someone with depression trying to help someone that is ill. It's like, how does that work?
Exactly. And that's a big trap in the New Age community that I fall into myself, which was like, oh, you got to be this great person, but people aren't ready to do that, aren't ready to give of themselves because their cup isn't overflowing. How can I give when I don't have? How can I, be the savior for people or whatever if I can't even save myself? And that's why a lot of these people that fall into the New Age community, all of a sudden just their whole security goes out the window because they stop taking care of their needs, stop taking care of their lives, their families, and they just focus outwardly, like, oh, I need to, save this world, or I need to raise my vibration. Yet they have no idea how. And I had no idea, like, what does that even mean? Just constantly focus on feeling good. Well, that avoids what I'm feeling inside, and I'm not being in tune with my emotional body whatsoever. I'm repressing anger, sadness, depression, whatever I may be feeling with, and I'm avoiding the problem. And another point I'm going to make, why am I having a memory lapse today? What'd you say, Ngombe? You said something about...
What I mentioned a bit of Andrew Tate, a bit of conspiracy theorists.
Oh, right. That's what set me off. Perfect. So these people that Andrew Tate, top G, right? Masons, G, the G in Mason, then the Masonic influence, right? If you're into this stuff, you should have figured that out by now. Should have made a connection. He's a Mason. And these people that control the system, they don't control it. The entities behind it have influence over it, right? That's why all of the structures that are regarded as successful, you have your athletes, your actors, your influencers, your content creators, all these people are 100% controlled because they don't get there without selling out first. And this idea of selling your soul to the devil is the top archon, the demiurge or whatever, trying to get bits of that spark that he put into Adam back. And he does it by offering these material deals. Because once you sign that contract, you say, okay, I will give my spark for you to be in control. And then all of a sudden your consciousness goes out the window, your awareness goes out the window, and until you become self-aware again and say, no, that contract is null and void, I don't agree anymore, that being essentially has you in a limbo and has the ability to manipulate your soul potentially. That's what I come to conclude. And these people in control, these elitists, whatever, elites, right? L being what they called Saturn, they are basically cheaters because they said, okay, I want all the money, material, whatever gains, give me the cheat codes, give me this power, and let me use it, right? And they've sold out. They have access to the cheats, the cheat codes in a sense. So do you want to be someone like that? Do you want to be in that occult? That's where you're going to be entering that type of consciousness, whether it's for good or for bad. Because the Masons, a lot of people see them as good people because they do perform acts of charity. Like I said, it's a balance. They want to control both sides. Once they create a bunch of destruction, that leaves room for goodness to come in, right? For someone to come repair it. But they just send their own people in. Oh, well, we are the ones that will save you. We have the solution, right? It's their own people. Problem, reaction, solution. Negative, positive to negative. It's the same idea. That's why angels, they get a lot of people to be then in communication with their guides, with their angels, with the ascended masters. Oh, I feel so great. I'm good. I'm worshiping these beings. I must be someone special. I was the 12th reincarnation of Metatron or whatever. Everyone is nowadays.
Yeah, everyone's a reincarnation of someone that was actually really important.
Right.
Never want to be the reincarnation of someone who was like a fucking janitor or someone who used to fucking wipe toilets.
Yeah, I'm communicating with the angels, but guess what? The angels are just a manifestation of the demons. Now, there are probably real angels in the real realm outside of this place up until the void, but they could just be AI agents of the Matrix, AI employees, right?
100%. I'd love to touch on what you said about selling yourself. Do you think it's possible to get to a certain level of success without selling yourself? What do you think is the highest pinnacle you can reach without selling your soul?
I guess I'd have to ask you what you define as success.
Well, I'd probably say, like me, for myself, if I was just going to go off myself, just in the realm of, say, acting, like if I wanted to get into acting, if I wanted to make it to, say, Emmerdale, I don't know if do you know what Emmerdale is? Or like a soap opera. You know what soap operas are?
Soap opera, yeah, okay.
Do you think there's a degree of you have to sell your soul to get to that stage? Or do you think it only begins when you get to the heights of Babylon, so like reaching Hollywood?
So the way I think it works is just like they show you with the pyramid. It's like a funnel. You have everyone trying at the bottom, people higher and higher, and then you get to a gatekeeper where there's literally only one single point of access to get to the next level, right? So all of that pyramid was one level. Then you get to another pyramid at the next level. And to get through these stages, I think we see it all the time with directors, especially with female actresses. They have to either sleep with the director or they have to pay him off or go do some sort of ritual. But they act as the gatekeeper. And this happens through all the occult. You'll get to certain points in astrology, you'll get a gatekeeper that's pretty popular or has just enough popularity to sway people into thinking certain ways. And they're keeping knowledge from people. Same goes in all of these, I believe. Like the other day I met a professional tennis player, and he had gotten like into the 60s, the ATP, like ranked 60 or something. I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't seem like he did any type of rituals. He seems like a nice guy. Doesn't seem like he knows it was scripted. That made me think, like, okay, it's really the top echelon who are probably very good at tennis. Don't get me wrong. These guys are amazing at tennis. And the ones running the script can easily say, oh, let's put this top 60 guy against this top one, and we're very sure he's going to beat him. Or we're going to tell him to throw the game or somewhat. Or they give him some sort of performance enhancing drugs that are, they won't check or something. They know what they're doing. So the top people are going to be the ones that were initiated, right? Even in Freemasonry, you get to level 32 and you still have no clue what's going on. And you can't get into 33 without going through the actual ritual. They've primed you, right? They've put you through some tests, but you still don't have a clue. You're still fed misinformation.
So there, I'd probably carry on by saying, like, on the note of indoctrination of the masses into this sort of beginning the ritual cycle or selling of their soul, I think I like your idea of like the head archon essentially giving all away his essence to Adam during the creation process, and he wants it back. Therefore, he would want to indoctrinate a lot of people into this sort of occult knowledge and sell them a dream, basically, of like if they worship him, they'll get to this ascended level, or they'll be like, it is the adage of the fruit in the garden, isn't it, really, like eating, like biting the apple, and biting the fruit of knowledge. So people get to that position where at that stage they can, so they've gone so far deep into the rabbit hole, which is climbing up the pyramid, without they don't even realize they're doing it. They're just doing it because of like all the knowledge they're acquiring, everything, like being manipulated by archons or demons or whatever. And then at that stage, they get the option to ascend. And I think a lot of people, because of their egoic tendencies, not to be rude to a lot of people, but it is true. I think a lot of people will blindly just sell the soul essentially and get to that stage because they'll be promised everything. They'll be promised the world. But there is the verse in the Bible as well that says, "What is it to give up
your soul,
your soul to gain the world?" So
that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people will do that. I think that is a possibility. I think day by day I am starting to come around to the idea that the Bible is filled with a lot of truth, like a hell of a lot of truth. I think, like as you said earlier, about 98% of it probably is truth, and then the other 2% is manipulation, basically. Yeah, it's a very deep subject, and
yeah.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say I agree what you say about. I think there is like a level of it where certain people can't get to achieve pretty impressive feats. So, like someone reaching 60th in tennis or being the 12th best golfer in the world, but to reach that top echelon, you do actually have to dedicate yourself to something outside yourself to reach the heights of the world.
Yeah, I don't think you can be a billionaire without being part of their club. Or maybe now it's become a trillionaire, but at least for a while it was a billionaire.
It would be interesting to know if anyone has done it without like having to sell the soul, you know what I mean? Like created a piece of alternative media where they've been put into the spotlight. But that's just, the thing is, it would make sense because with the AI controlling the algorithm, they are, if you do go with the idea that AI is the archons, they are the ones that are manipulating this reality, then that is one in the same, essentially. Those are the ones that control the traffic to give a certain person a stage or a spotlight. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly
that is their manipulation. Like they are doing it. Those are the people that are doing it. So people who aren't necessarily supposed to give out a certain amount of information won't, because the AI is manipulating it, which is the archons at the same time. And I don't think people are very witty. Like I know Nick Hinton said when he was sharing the knowledge about the Santam Cube and stuff, it was almost like someone was forcing his information into the spotlight. Like he gained 100,000 followers like overnight, essentially. So I don't think he was necessarily aware of it, but I do think there is some forces in the background that are manipulating us. And I don't even think we're aware of the fact that we would be selling our soul. I think it's just an energy exchange that we're not noticing.
Exactly. That's what I was going to make the point of. When you start working with these entities, and I've discussed this with entity attachments and with my interview with Tony, when you start working with these entities, you're essentially engaging in contracts, whether verbal or even non-consensual or consensual. Your agreement to work with them is basically the consent. Your agreement to communicate with them is consent. You're bringing them in. You're creating a portal. Now, whether they're negative, you more than likely will know right away if they're negative. And when they're positive, you won't know it right away because it's a false light message, right? It's a message of hope, of peace, compassion, whatever. Really with no grounding, with no ability to make things happen. So then these people engage in these contracts and they start working with these entities that then attach, possess, feed misinformation, and they start trusting them. And really the only, I guess, real world effect will come when they then start taking action or non-action, even where they trust not to do some sort of things, and start creating in the world based on their advice. But in the meantime, these entities can actually make things happen in your external reality because you've essentially hooked into them, especially if you channel, right? These entities then have control over your body through various implants. Because you open up your crown chakra, you're vulnerable, and then things come in. And then they start manipulating your life, and people start wondering, well, I'm this great person, I do all these good things, where's my good karma, right? But really, it's an entity like the Adjustment Bureau constantly adjusting their lives, where they go one step forward and then 2 steps back. And I'm like, whoa, I was so close. It's like a lottery ticket, one of those scratch offs. Oh my God, I was one number off. I could have had $1 million. And wow, it's that rush. But really, they're just losing money, and they're deluding themselves thinking, oh, next time will be better. So like people experience accidents, problems in their life that will show up, barriers, gatekeepers that are preventing them from accessing the next level to actually creating their reality how they think it should be. And they wonder why. Why can't I actually tap into this creative potential when I'm doing all these good things, yet I have nothing to show for it in my life? So then that's why you have to really discern all these people. Okay, well, you're telling me how to make a bunch of money. How did you make your money? Is it just by telling a bunch of people how to make money? Or did you actually have something, concrete behind you? Oh, you're telling me how to be a better person. Are you a better person? How would you define a better person? Do you constantly get angry as well? Do you constantly get triggered? What are you trying to sell me? What's your motivation? And the same discernment then goes for truth, right? All these beings will tell you, oh, I am the truth. I know what's going on with this realm, or you need to be like this, yet they never tell you, they never make you question things. They never pose a question like, hey, do you know where you are? Do you know who you are? Do you know what this place is? Or do you know of all these beings that have been influencing this realm to create a bunch of trauma? Why do you think you've been reincarnating so many times with the same trauma? Do you really want to experience that? Right? And that's what I think is the biggest characteristic of a divine spark, is someone that naturally questions, right? When I mentioned the Adam example, Adam had the ability to naturally question, to naturally think, to critically think, and say, oh, well, who are you? Why am I here? Right? A lot of people just accept, and deflect, right? Deflect any other possibilities. That's why a lot of people get stuck in a comfortable lie rather than the whole truth, or a comfortable lie with parts of the truth rather than doing the work and asking questions and exiting their comfort zone to then engage with other perspectives. And I gave this example on Twitter. It's also found in this book, Can You Stand the Truth? Which I was very surprised aligned with a lot of my questions and a lot of my ideas, because you start tapping into this consciousness once you actually start saying or intending to find out the whole truth. You have to have that desire, that unstoppable desire. They gave this example of the rainbow. If one person said, okay, yeah, there's 7 colors of the rainbow, but they only know of one, and it's red, and said, oh, red, that's the truth. That is the true color. And then another person comes along and say, well, no, I've seen yellow. Yellow's got to be the truth. And then they start fighting. Well, who's right? Who's wrong? they both have an aspect of the truth. But to gain the full truth, you need all 7 colors, potentially even more if there are. And all these people saying, oh, well, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. We have all these pieces. Let's put them together to make the puzzle. And then the puzzle reveals the true image. That's the whole truth. But people just get stuck and saying, oh, I found it. That's it. I'm good. No more. Right? People find the new age. They say, okay, I broke all these levels of the matrix. That must be it. And they think they know everything. That's the danger. Once you think you know everything, you get stuck.
100%. It's like, you see people in the new age, they transition from that stage of their life to religion, and it's like one trap to another. It's just based on how they feel, because they can see that the new age is deceiving, but people tend to go into situations where they feel good. So because something makes them feel good, then that's their truth. But that's not really what the truth is. The truth is not supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to make you realize that, hey, this is the reality that we're in. This is deceptive. This is, what it should be. And people are not ready for that mentally. That's why, like you said, they get stuck in these stages where they can't escape the cycle of reincarnation.
Yeah, the truth is supposed to give you sovereignty, right? It's supposed to give you power. It's supposed to give you an ability to have self-knowledge. Yet, if we don't question anything, if we don't actually go out and seek it or have a desire to know more, we're never going to access it.
Yeah. I think on the note, what you're saying about the truth is the Socrates quote. I don't know if you've heard it, where he says, "All I know is that I know nothing."
Yeah.
I think I spoke about this on a recent podcast. Actually, it's that truth has become so watered down and so diluted and so manipulated that it's almost impossible to tell what is the truth nowadays. And I think that's the workings of manipulators. Basically, we're led down so many different rabbit holes. So, like, there's the New Age, there's the occult, there's Christianity, there's different religions that I think it's almost designed to scramble your brain in a sense.
Yep.
And I think the best way out of that mindset is just to accept that you don't know anything and just be as neutral as possible, like you said. I think did you speak about the quote in the Bible here, or did we say it before we started the podcast? I can't remember. When we talked about neutrality.
Oh yeah,
we said about when you don't have any taste, that you get spat out essentially.
Yeah, let me find that real quick. Actually.
Well, is it the everlasting?
I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. But that you were either cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. And that's in Revelations, which is the final chapter of the Bible, which is quite interesting. So it's essentially that if you live in neutrality, then it sounds like it's saying you'll be basically spat out from this game or this reality. You're not involved anymore because you're not participating in whatever you are supposed to be participating in. The energy exchange comes from when you get invested into a certain idea, when you get so invested into it. So it's like you have the conflict now between left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's fighting over transgenderism and that. I think both the pendulum has swung so much that each direction is so extreme that almost creates this huge battery of like energy sources. Yeah, like the polarity between the negative and the positive. Yep. And I think what is happening at the minute is there's going to be such a swing of different opposing ideas that it's just going to completely blow everyone's minds, and it's going to shatter truth. And I think the idea is to make people as confused as possible so they don't actually know what's going on in this reality anymore, and they just accept whatever's given to them as the truth.
Yeah, that's the exact quote I was looking for. And then the ending is, so because you are lukewarm, that's the word I was thinking of, lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. But then I was going to make this point about the truth being paradoxical, and they create that with intent here. You have another quote in the Bible, John 15:19, where he says, Jesus taught that his followers should be no part of the world. This includes being neutral, not taking sides in the world's politics and war. the quote is being no part of the world. So then it's like, okay, well, how can I be no part of the world if you want me to be hot or cold? That means I have to be picking a side. But maybe what really was saying about spitting you out was not Jesus, but about the beast itself. I will spit you out of this realm because you have no charge, you have no electrical component to provide energy for me, for the system. Right? You're not hot or cold, you're not positive or negative. I can't direct you in any direction. That's why the middle path, and this is actually revealed in the occult, it's the middle path. We have black and white magic, black and white tantra. But the middle path is pure. On two sides of the coin, you have the edge. It's the third side that the coin sometimes lands on, even. But yeah, it's not given a name. It's not heads or tails. It's the middle, and it's more than likely the way out, because if the truth is paradoxical, right? If one says red but one says blue, and they're both true, but from different sides, then the truth is in the middle. It's both or in neither at the same time.
Yeah. The truth is paradoxical because it doesn't technically exist. I think the truth is that there is no truth.
There is no.
I think because we're such powerful beings in a sense that we can, like you say, like manifestation is a very real thing. And I think whatever we perceive and whatever we give energy towards becomes our truth. And I think that is something that is so like applicable to what we're going through now. So like people are so fervently believing what they like politically, however you want to put it, politically, religiously, whatever. People believe it so strongly nowadays. I think that's manipulated by AI, obviously, because of how the algorithm works to make people almost live in an echo chamber of hearing their own thoughts told back to them over and over again. So their beliefs become just solidified so strongly, and then it's like they're almost manifesting that reality because they believe it so much. So it is their truth, and they almost create like their own universe and their own reality. And I think a lot of people are living within their own like singular realities at the minute. And I don't think that. I think the truth is that like I think that's just to help aid their goal of trapping us even more, because you're believing so strongly in an opinion and an idea that it creates it almost like double whammies you and puts you into like a reality within a reality within a reality, like the Russian doll idea.
So that really, I'm glad you brought that up. That brings me up to another great point that was also discussed in this book that connected with one of my ideas. So in the book, it talks about Lucifer being the antagve. The antagve means the one reflecting the light. It's the mirror. That's why he's the light bearer, because he holds the light and reflects it. So he's able to capture that. So if this world is a mirror, this world is Satan's realm or Lucifer's. They differ, in my opinion, but there's that connecting point. This world is like the AI mirroring your beliefs to you. You're the light, right? We are the light. We are the ones emitting the light. Our belief systems, our focus is what is projecting this with the mirror around us. Really, what this realm is like a hall of mirrors. We're in it, and whatever we mold ourselves to be is then reflected to us by this AI matrix. So that's what the Bible means when Lucifer stole the light. It could also allude to the demiurge being born and having the light stolen from Sophia to then use it to create in the void, because I believe the void to be the womb of the mother, and we're creating inside this void, really. But the void is all still part of the matrix, the matrix, which these archons have dominion over from their perspective. At least ultimately the mother has dominion, and the Christ principle entered through potentially this act of sexuality, just like we have the man with the woman here. It's mirrored, right? Everything in this realm is an imitation of the true realm of what actually exists, because when the archon woke up it didn't know anything else besides what it saw. So it just mimicked everything and then created systems of control.
What's this book called? I'm going to have to give it a read.
Oh, yeah. Can You Stand the Truth? It's
Can You Stand the Truth?
It's a 700-page Bible, basically. So it's good.
Oh, wow.
I haven't gone through it all yet.
I just put the link will be in the description for it. But yeah, Ron, you said how far was it? How far is it?
Yeah, we're not selling it.
It's pretty expensive, to be honest. It's like $40.
Fuck yeah. Who's it written by?
Angelique, I think, or something. It's like a French name, I think.
Angelique.
I'll look for it.
You say, Can You Handle the Truth? That's the name of it.
Can You Stand the Truth?
Or Can You Stand the Truth? That's my mistake.
Can You Stand the Truth?
You can handle the truth.
Angelique Anagnostu Kalogera.
I found it.
So
Yeah, I found it.
Even Gnostic is in their name.
Yeah.
Or anagnostic.
That's quite fitting, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only £21 over here on Amazon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Can You Stand the Truth? The Chronicle of
Top
Man's Imprisonment.
You've been ripped off.
Oh, I
Should have used Amazon. Should have used Amazon.
I did use Amazon, yeah.
Oh, did you? I mean, conversion rates, though. It's probably like $30.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the quid. That's another freaking trap. Or this whole reality. Yeah, let's make our currency better than your currency, so that when we go to your country, we can use our currency and basically destroy your country.
Yeah, exactly. So many layers.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
I
the
think the
same.
wonders existing in Plato's cave at the minute. I think that's what's the wonders more enclosed within this reality than we already are. What are you going to say, John? Are we going to say something? Oh, I thought you were about to speak.
Yeah, the allegories are found throughout, right? Whether it's the Bible uses occulted truths, the exoteric and the esoteric. Whether it's in philosophies, everything is allegorical and is trying to depict the deeper truth that is, found in this reality. And so it's important to gain those perspectives, but not become attached to them. If someone gives you a bunch of info, but then, like I said, gives you that conclusion, you have to be discerning enough to realize, oh, this is an interpretation, or, oh, this is a manipulation.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell between the two, like which one it is. Mm-hmm. Because, I don't think you can truly understand something before you've experienced it. Like, I really think you have to go through the whole experience. Like, you have to go through the New Age stage, like me and you went through. You have to experience it to realize that it's not the healthiest option.
Yeah.
But I guess it's more of a test of your character.
Yeah. I was talking about this with someone else even. They went through it, so they realized, they experienced, and it's like the true source uses these categories to then see, hey, do you really want to come home, or do you just pretend you want to come home, but really you still want to stay in this realm and play the game?
Yeah,
you still want to be part of these desires. Yeah, so they are like initiations, I guess. You realizing that this place is a game, or that this is a manipulation, and they're just using your sovereignty. Because really what the New Age is a refusal to take responsibility. Is saying, exactly. Oh, you guys will be my savior. Sure, yeah, I trust you. You guys fix my life, right?
And I think to a degree, like the more you focus on it, the more people you get on board thinking that, then it almost manifests into reality. But obviously, it's like a gateway, it's a portal to bring these beings, whatever they are, into fruition, into reality, and then get them to be more powerful than us. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it, like a lot of the uptick in like the artificial intelligence that you see at the minute, isn't part of the manifestation from things such as New Age, where they've been given an entrance point. I think it's a lot of things working together to create a gateway or a portal. Like you see so much reference to portals and stuff nowadays.
Yep.
in popular media.
This is a portal.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Black Cube. Everything is in reference to the Black Cube. It's almost as if we are already worshipping AI. I mean, we're literally doing this podcast on a Black Cube.
Yes.
look at the surround. Like look at the background. It's a black cube.
That's a cube.
Look at behind me. There's a TV. Which is
And I left a comment because you were asking me about it. What I meant.
I didn't see that. Actually. I didn't see that. I will look.
No. Remember, because you commented on it. I said the screen.
Yeah, no, I do remember. Yeah, I just didn't see a reply after that.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I'll have a look. I will have a look.
But
because I thought you won't reply, and I was like, why is it not replied? That's a bit rude.
But you said something about, like the screen of the iPhone or the screen of the black cube being like the void, and that clicked because there are people that have gone to those points, their NDEs or whatever, OBEs or whatever they're doing, and they said, "Oh, I got a glimpse of the screen. I saw myself in like a corner of the screen, and I thought I had seen it all, but that was actually just a corner. That was just one perspective, and the screen is so big. It's like the projection of this reality, right?" And I don't know if you guys have seen my BQH session with Tina and Karen.
I saw a snippet on your Twitter.
Yeah. So Karen was describing that when I was in that group, the New Age group, they were actually using my decoding abilities to decode various words and numbers, create numbers that then created portals for these beings to come in more, potentially, and to hook in their energies. So that goes back to your point on portals, on how the occult is actually using people to then manifest portals or to create other portals for these potentially demonic beings to come in. And I don't know what their plan is, control humanity.
Yeah. But I think they already are to a degree. Maybe the right to control us on the physical rather than just the spiritual. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a torment than literally just the spiritual. But I think to a degree it's because we do have a lot of power that we don't realize as well. Like we are, as you say, more powerful than these beings. We're more intelligent than them. Just because they can find any piece of information on the internet in a matter of seconds doesn't mean that they're more intelligent than us. Exactly. At least not spiritually, anyway. I think we are a lot more. I was speaking to my friend the other day. He's schizophrenic, and he basically says that he sees demons. And there's a lot of talk whether like people who are schizophrenic can genuinely see demons or they are communicating with demons. I think there was a guy who did you could look into it. There was a guy who did a study where he took a load of his patients who were schizophrenic, and instead of giving them drugs, what he'd do is he'd try and communicate with the demons and tell them to leave the person alone. Exactly. And that worked a lot better than the drugs that they were using, because all the drugs were doing was suppressing the demons. Like the demons were still there, but it was just like they were suppressed. And
they're suppressing their ability to communicate with them. Yeah.
But essentially, my friend basically said that he it doesn't treat them like they're anything special. Like they are scared of us because we're a lot more powerful than them, and we can control them if we want. But at the minute, like the New Age is obviously spinning the other way around, where we're supposed to be worshipping them because they can manipulate things from the outside, but we're the ones that are actually existing in this reality, essentially.
Yeah. So and a lot of people that are they're entity possessed, it's a kind of symbiotic relationship for them, which is what I found when studying this demonologist Nathan Gills. He's basically, he talks to people that are entity possessed. He talks to the demons, but he was talking to the person, and he was saying, "Oh, that's a shadowy being," and the person was like, "Yeah, I've seen it before, but that's okay. It protects my house when I'm not here, or it does these things when I'm not here. It's some sort of agreement, like I said, and they're okay with it."
Yeah. Here's the thing as well. This has just reminded me. On the note of zombies, I really think you should look into into Nazi zombies and stuff. For people who haven't played Nazi zombies very frequently, there's a lot of occult knowledge in there. One of the characters in there is called the Shadow Man, and a lot of people who are schizophrenic or say they're on a DHT trip say they see someone with a black cap and a black suit, a black top hat, and that's what the Shadow Man looks like. And he's like the manipulated, he's the demon in the background that manipulates everything. And when my grandma was really ill, like she was nearly on a deathbed, she had dementia at the time. She would say, like my mum told me, she would say that she saw someone at the end of the bed with a black suit on and a top hat. And at the time, I was like, that's extremely weird. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think once we start to disconnect from this physically, you can almost perceive them. But she said that, my grandma said that it wasn't malicious or anything like that. It was just stood there. It wasn't doing anything. But it's just the ability.
It might have been there just to collect or harvest the soul, kind of like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, exactly. Possibly.
Kind of like contain it and then life review, just boom, reincarnate.
Yeah. And that's the idea of on That's His Zombies. The storyline is that he goes around and collects souls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You should really look into it. It's very interesting. I'll send you a link to a video, you as well, on Gombe, that has like the whole rundown of the zombie storyline.
Yeah,
but it's this idea that did that person actually have the occult knowledge to write this, or was it the entities feeding them this information and getting them to write this storyline? Which one was it? Was it the chicken or the egg first, essentially?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, link it in the video too for our audience.
Yeah, 100%.
I will do.
Based on the storyline, it's probably the entities that are giving these people information. Like, and also you mentioned that these people are probably sending messages to people who are psychic and make predictions. Again, another trap in the Matrix.
Yeah, even playing the newer version of Call of Duty for a little bit, started noticing all these occult symbols. I'm like, this game is really satanic. Like I couldn't even play it anymore.
Well, if you think that's satanic, you'll see how satanic Zombies is.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, because they were like predicting a nuke in one of their storylines. They were like trying to get people to manifest that.
Yeah,
like New York or something.
Yeah. Well, Nazi Zombie. There's a level 1 Nazi Zombies where you're playing in Purgatory, essentially in Alcatraz. So you play as 4 prisoners. It's 4 characters that are based off like American gangster style films, but the place gets taken over by Satan, essentially, and they get stuck in Purgatory, and the warden's coming around after them and trying to basically kill them to get the souls and feed them to Satan. There's a lot. Yeah, it's very dark. Is the Nazi Zombie storyline. As I say, like I think I'm coming to more of the.
I think that's true.
I think more of the idea I'm coming to now is though that a lot of these creators and stuff, I think some of them are in on the information, but I think a lot of them come to the ideas through like downloads and stuff like that. Like they fed the information from these entities. Like the guy who invented the computer. I don't know if you've heard the story about him. Is it the person who invented the computer or something like that? I've heard Nick Hinman talking about it, but he says that he was communicating with machine elves in his garden. He said he'd go out and dig holes and he'd go speak to these machine elves, and they were telling him to build this supercomputer. Yep. And obviously, like when people are tripping on DMT, they say they see these machine elves.
Right. Which, to our point earlier, they come with messages of love, compassion, healing, even, which, those are good things from our perspective. And they even go as far to say, no, make sure you do not believe this realm is hell. Like that's one of the videos I watched regarding the machine elves. And again, these people start hooking into it. They start seeing these numbers, 434. And it's like, oh, wow. What kind of consciousness are we really tapping in? They're machine elves?
Doesn't sound very friendly to me. That sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
If I was scared of anything, I'd be scared of machine elves. If a machine elf walked in my room now, like elves are scary enough, but a machine elf, Jesus Christ, I'd be fucking shitting my pants.
For sure, man.
Like Dobby, like a fucking robot Dobby. Like Dobby's pretty scary. I used to be terrified of Dobby as a kid.
Dobby, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I used to fucking hate Dobby. I was terrified of him.
Dobby.
You know Dobby.
Isn't that from Lord of the Rings, though?
No, from Harry Potter.
Is it from Harry Potter? Oh, okay, yeah.
No, you're thinking of what's his face from Lord of the Rings? I know you mean Gollum.
Yeah, Gollum. Yeah,
similar sort of character.
Oh, okay, yeah. That being Gollum, yeah. Yeah, even
Could you
Yoda's
do-
Yoda's a demon.
Yeah,
Speaks speaks backwards, like Hebrew.
True. Yeah, I never thought of that before. He does. Speaks in reverse, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Speaks in the upside down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You said you're interested in the ayahuasca, so I guess you'll have to be the guinea pig. Besides all the other people that have tried it, I don't recommend it. You know my stance.
No.
I wouldn't recommend you do it.
No, I know you don't recommend it. I'm just interested to see what the experience would be like.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I'll tell you my experience with that. I was going to do it. I was going to do it. My curiosity had gotten the best of me, and then my mom got this overwhelmingly bad feeling, and she started going crazy. Like she's like, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it." She was about to like literally kill me before I did it.
Really? What, just out of nowhere?
Yeah. And you know what they say about women's intuition, it turned out to be right. More than likely, I was going to have some kind of horrible trip where I wouldn't be able to handle it, and I would lose my mind, and she'd have to come get me, or it just end up really poorly, and I'd become entity possessed.
That's what I fear as well. But I'm still curious. Well, I might have the same experience. To be fair, my mum has a very strong intuition, so I feel like if I was going to do it, she would probably stop me.
There you go.
If you do ever try it, just tell us your experience in a future podcast. Hopefully, it's not you sitting in. Hopefully, it's not you sitting in hospital.
Oh god!
I might come back as a machine elf.
Oh no!
Yeah. It's crazy how like things like that can come from the earth, although in a very specific kind of combination, you know, an occult spell. That's how it's made. Can still open you up to manipulation.
Also, ayahuasca.
Yeah, what they show you, or like when you go, you think you're going to this dimension, but really it's another overlay. It's just like astral traveling. You're just in the overlay, the dream world, another layer of the dream world. That's why I say it goes all the way up to the void, where there's nothing.
Well, that's what, like Graham Hancock were talking about how ayahuasca was formulated, and it's almost impossible that they put them two ingredients together. And he says that the ancestors were showed how to do that by whatever entities showed them.
Exactly, red flag.
It's not the same entities that are manipulating us now to create AI to bring fucking robots into reality. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. We've been dealing with these demons for since the beginning of this realm.
Exactly. That's why I think it's an ongoing war. I think it's a war that's lasted for millennia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another question. Like, how long has this place lasted? They tell us millions of years. Some say thousands. You know, and I was kind of posing this question. Well, hey, if we got stuck here because our mother Sophia told that being to breathe into the light, into these bodies, and it's been going on for millions of years, like, you know, we could use some help. We've been stuck in these trauma cycles for millions of years, dude. But if it's only thousands, I understand, you know, from her standpoint of 10 seconds, it could be thousands of years for us. But if it's been millions, like, come on now.
Yeah, just get us out of here. I'm bored of playing now. I really don't think it's that long. I genuinely think it's like a game, almost.
Yeah.
Just because I was thinking like the other day, like what are the, I know obviously no way I'm believing in the Big Bang Theory, but trying to propose the idea that we just happen to be on this perfect planet that's so at a certain distance away from the sun. It just makes no fucking sense.
The book talks about that too, like the probability of particles colliding and then creating a perfect environment for life to foster, to begin, you know, growing. Is the same as a blind man walking on a beach looking for a specific grain of sand.
Wow.
Like,
exactly. Of course, as well, now the telescope, they've got an even more powerful telescope than the Hubble, I think. I can't remember what it's called. But apparently they've discovered that the universe isn't actually expanding, it's shrinking.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting.
Yeah, because Stephen Hawking talked about the Big Bang and then the Big Crunch.
Yeah.
The Ouroboros. Boom, expands.
Yeah, exactly.
At 2 points, it collapses again.
We're going back into the void, which is the black hole. The black holes could be the thing that are sucking us back in.
Yes, that's right.
It's perfect. It's perfect timing for the age you're in. we have the Ouroboros symbolism everywhere, so that discovery is no surprise.
Yeah, even in the World Cup,
Yeah.
you have the Ouroboros. But it's similar to the idea of like the occult and stuff, like getting into conspiracy theories. Essentially, once you start getting into it, you basically trapping yourself in a cycle of never finding the truth.
Yeah, you just want to get out again.
Yeah, exactly. Like you think you discover the truth, and you don't. Then you start from the top again, and you go back round. It's just a cycle that you're trapping yourself in.
Yep, that's why there's a rabbit on the moon. You go down, back to the moon, down, back to the moon. You know, Chiron last, through etymology or to breaking down the words, he provides a theory that actually our bodies are in the office or off ice here, but they are on ice on Saturn. I forgot what actual connections he makes behind that, but it's in his third part, I believe.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I think Nick was talking about a theory. Well, even if it might be the Masons that believe that, like, we are on Sirius. We've come down from Sirius, and we're playing a game. Like, we live on Sirius, and that's why. Did you see Graham Hancock's show?
The new one, no.
Well, if you look at the megaliths, there's a lot of megaliths from the past, and all of them point towards Sirius, where Sirius would be. So it basically suggests Sirius worship, and people believe that we came from Sirius or we come from Sirius, and we've been brought down here. And we're essentially existing on Sirius and the Earth at the same time, like simultaneously playing the game. However,
can I just say something?
That's against our will, which probably.
Yeah. Like, am I right in saying that Sirius in English ordinals 9 to 5? Not 9 to 5, 95 in English ordinal.
Yeah, I think it equals Sophia, I believe.
I mean, that perhaps explains the 9 to 5 lifestyle that we currently have in the Matrix. Going to
the office. Oh, great connection.
Exactly. Yeah. Crazy. Working 9 to 5.
But the thing is, I also thought of the blazing star. Yeah, me neither anymore. I always thought of the blazing star as, could it be Sirius or could it be Saturn? Saturn was a star that went blazing, right? Exploded potentially. You know, Chiron last makes the point that our bodies are on Saturn. Could they be on Sirius? Potentially as well. We see it mimicked in Westworld, where the actual clones are just kept frozen underneath in the chamber, right? And then when they're made to be in the storylines again, they're just activated and thrown in the world, in the Westworld.
Interesting. Unless that's what they want us to believe.
Yeah, unless that's what they want. Yeah, true. I mean, I don't care about this body. I care about it, but I'm not gonna go rescue it from Sirius or Saturn. Like, our divine self is so much more than just the body. The clone.
There's a lot of effort in it. Yeah, it's 95 in English order.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, interesting stuff though. I think that's what I like about these interviews. We have a topic, but we always let it, go into other topics that may come up. Yeah.
Is it time to wrap it up
now? Yeah, that was literally what I was about to think.
Yeah, let's end it.
I think we smashed this. I think this has been a great episode, and I think there's a lot of information here. I will leave on one more note as well. I kept referencing Sophia as well. That is quite a big part of the zombie storyline as well.
Is it?
I'll leave you to.
Oh my god!
Discover that on your own.
All right, cool, sweet. I will definitely check that out. All right, time to end it then.
All right.
Do you want me to do the outro?
Yeah, you can.
All right. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for Silviu for being on this episode. It's been great to have him back. And as always, we've had an amazing conversation. And I think there's a lot for you guys to pull from this. We will leave the information that we've talked about in the description so you can have a look at like the book that we referenced and the link to the zombie storyline and things like that. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching as usual. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
If you're new to Silviu and you enjoyed our conversation with him, be sure to check him out on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Cheers, guys.